So this is one of the things I worked on today. I decided to work on coloring this piece. This is something I penciled, I believe it was 2009, and I really liked it. It's not perfect. The eyes are off, um, but it's how I think Bright Eyes will look down the line. It's a long way from getting there, but I just wanted to do a new promotional piece and decided to use color using Manga Studio 5, and this is what developed. So I like the way it came out. I could have used a different background color, or maybe even put an image there, separate it a little better. But what the hell? It's not perfect coloring. It's just me messing about. How long? Quite a long time. But I do like the way it came out. You know, much like the pencils, it's not perfect, but I'm finding I could do some cool stuff without a lot of using a lot of different techniques. Uh, this is pretty straightforward, you know, slapping down color and blending, and I like the way it came out. And I decided I'm going to, hopefully, maybe tomorrow, I'll do the logo, pencil it, and then ink it, and then put it into Manga Studio. See if I can make it vector art and see how that comes out. So look forward to that. Hey everyone. So it's me again. I thought I'd show a little progress I made on Bright Eyes. Uh, my faces are lousy. Anyway, I'm just I'm just winging it. It's like I'm going in and getting them done. Uh, Imperfections aside, um, I might tweak it, but I just I want to get the next page done. This is Bright Eyes page 3. Uh, I should write that. um, Something underneath. I don't know. Yeah. So a lot of what I did this morning was I did a little inking on this, but let me see if I could pull this. Okay. So there's a site called Comic Rocket and another one called Ink Outbreak. Both are promotional tools in which to expand your audience of your webcomics. And I was messing around with Comic Rocket this morning. Essentially, I'm going to set up all my comics on both of those. Uh, what they are is are sites where you can set up your list of webcomics you read, and a little Comic Rocket or Ink Outbreak banner goes along the top of your browser, but you can click past, the various webcomics you're reading once you create your list on either or. And yeah, Comic Rocket is newer to me. I was around at the beginning of Ink Outbreak, so I'm trying to I immersed myself in there, and I've got a lot to learn. So yeah, that's one of the things that it took up a lot more time, and now I want to get the video out because I get calls to a couple of different artists I wanted to catch up with, and also my special guest for my 100th episode of my podcast. I wanted to connect with that person, and you'll have to wait to see who it is. But uh, my idea of um, working on everything each day, well, that's not going to go perfectly well today. Much like in the beginning, I'm going to, you know, once I get this video done and through my phone calls, I'll work later into the night, and I want to play around and see if I can ink the first strip of Neon Eden. So that's me working on that today. I'll give that at least a half hour and see what develops and what it looks like, and decide if I'm going to attempt to do that. Um, but here's a page from Blood Rights. I haven't worked on this today, but this is what I'm going to be getting to, and you can't see the whole thing, but this is Rodney Jacobson on pencils. I'm going to be inking this and adding my pizzazz to his really cool pencils. So that's page 3. Is that right? I guess so. I really have to start uh, making sure, like the first 2 pages are penciled, the cover is penciled. We have to get the logo done, and the first few pages lettered. Is that right? Did I ink more? Oh my god, so much to do. I gotta start making lists. This was a piece. I hope this is okay to show. This is by Scott Story, and he penciled this pin up. Uh, and I'm in the process of inking that. I should have really inked this a long time ago. But there's some challenging aspects to it, and one of which is going to be a lot of this space is going to be exactly that. It's going to be space and black. So I'm going to have to throw down halos around everything, and he has energy, that will be a little challenging here and here to do space around that. But I think this is hard to see, but it's really an awesome piece. And normally I bitch and complain about anybody who really, I mean, there's not a lot of detail going to the edges, but I kind of feel like I have to ink it to the edge. I always like a border on the pages I'm working on, even if it's a bleed. Do the bleed within the edges of paper, please, because I hate inking off a page. Uh, it's just how I feel. So, and the public premiere of some pages of retro. Let's see, this one comes first. So this is page 4. I inked the first 3, but I'm not going to show you those. Oh, crap. I wish I had a better setup. Anyway. Okay, so that. I usually like inking going up. It depends, but it's way, as I'm going up, I'm not. I could erase the pencils here and go up here and not smudge them too bad. Rich Fuchsia is the artist on this, and his pencils are a little light, but wonderfully detailed. And I'm just going a little crazier with it. There's not so much on this page, but this is page 5. It's essentially the villain. His first 5 pages are one scene, and there's Retro trying to chase after the villain after he essentially gets off scot-free. And Retro's like, damn him, or whatever I make him say. Like I mentioned previously, I haven't fully scripted it out yet. I did a detailed plot, so I really want to. Let me leave it on this page. I really want to ink the whole issue and then script it. Okay, I'll leave it that way. And I'll be right back. Okay, so first I want to tell you that I have the newest Independent Road podcast up. I forget if I mentioned it in the other episode. So my interview with Scott Circlin, the link is below in the description box below the video. So go click on that and give a listen to episode 99. Or you can just go to iTunes and subscribe and get the latest episode. I think I made a mistake and I might need to re-upload the episode because I I tried to upload it a couple of times. Sometimes it's just doesn't work. And the last time I uploaded it, I didn't make it the right episode number, so it's episode 102, which is not the case. It's episode 99. So, yeah, I gotta fix that. But yeah, go check out the interview. Very cool. Scott Circlin is a oh so talented guy. I mentioned he's part of the 100s, and it just so happens that he commented on my last video, and I wanted to address that today. So I'm not going to do a fancy topic banner, but since I'm showing you some inks from my upcoming superhero series Retro, I figure I address the topic of inkers and how and why my career isn't that now as it once was. I know I've addressed this topic many a time in my podcast, but I figured I'd do it here since, hey, this is all about 100 days of making comics, and inking is a large part of that, especially for me, traditional inking. And it used to be a big part of my career, and I might have still been doing that and not working on my own creator-owned projects if it wasn't for the many changes the comic industry has gone through with new technology and the web and publishers trying to save a buck for many different reasons. Um, I have a real love for inking, and you know, it in a different timeline, different alternate universe, I probably could have continued on happily uh, and permanently just inking. That it's something I just I get in the inking zone, and it's just so much fun. It's finishing, to a certain level. It's finishing a piece of art. As far as I'm concerned, an ink page is a masterpiece, and it's about doing each individual panel, making it to the best of my ability. Then it's about really making the whole page work um, as a solid piece. I'm not so concerned, when I'm making, I'm not so concerned about how it matches up side by side with the pages alongside. Like page 4 would be what? 1, 2 on the left, and page 5 would be on the right. And where's page 5? Here's page 5. I'm not so concerned about that as an anchor. That's really, it should be there in the pencils, um, how it feels together. But it is an important factor, and I guess when I have the time, I do consider that. But yeah, so the question is sort of the topic is why I'm not doing it now is because of many reasons. Because there are a lot more pencilers who are inking themselves, and even publishers are encouraging that, because I think, and I'm not so sure. I'm not working for Marvel DC or any real publishers at the moment, but I think if a penciler pencils and inks a page, that's a lesser rate than it would be if it was two different people. I could be wrong, but anyway, because of that alone, there's less need of inkers. There's also the publishers, editors who choose to take this, darken it, and just slap colors, computer coloring over it, or different ways. They could darken it and make a really good copy, and then watercolor or paint over it. But I'm sure most of it is digital. There's that. A lot. You see a lot of that in independent publishers. You still see some of that in Marvel and DC books, and 95% of the time, I don't like it. It doesn't look as good. It doesn't look as tight. It looks washed out, and it's not a good look. I don't care how gorgeous the penciler's lines are. It just, it's not as solid looking. Uh, Now, 95 is better than I used to give it, which was 99% of the time I didn't like it. So there has been some improvement, but for the most part. But that's another reason, publishers using, coloring over pencils. Another reason there are less inking jobs out there. And mostly it's those two reasons. It's just less need. But another big reason, the biggest reason for me, and keeping in mind that I'm not the fastest inker It takes me a month to ink a book. Maybe I could do it in less time. Well, I could definitely do it in less time, but you know, recovery is also included. I bust my ass on a uh, average 22 page book, a cover and 21 pages, whatever the average is now, for the main publishers. They're using less pages. But it's it's a lot less pay than what I made in the mid 90s. And that's just not cool. I was I consider, I was barely making enough then. You know, I I survived and I had a good living. Um, but just as I was sort of ending my run at Marvel, I was seriously considering, trying to get a really good pay upgrade. But then, the work sort of wasn't happening anymore, and I didn't really um, push that. I went and got into doing independent work again, and independent publishers don't pay as much as the big guys. So, back then, it's like my my page rate from all in DC uh, was good, but now you're lucky if you can get that. And this is much later. This is, you know, 10 years later, a decade later, and people's rates haven't gone up. And a lot of that is because they're hiring people outside the United States. You could feed a whole family for a week on, just inking one page if you're living in Spain, or you living somewhere south of America, or other places, Turkey, or wherever these artists and inkers are, and colorists even are coming from. And I can't compete with that. America isn't cheap, no matter where you are. Um, I live in a small town out in Kentucky, and things are cheaper, yeah, but I still got to make a decent rate. And um, I mean, that's one of the things I really want to work on is producing a lot of work and doing commissions and doing just art when I can, and sketch cards, and trying to uh, bust my ass to get my rate up, because I know, like, what I put out there, the sketch cards I have in my store, and my commission prices. I still have to make a new list, but my commission prices, as they stand, it's cheap. It's cheap, and I shouldn't be as cheap as that. So yeah, that's the bunch of reasons why I haven't really pushed for inking work. Uh, I truly believe that by me busting my ass, making my own creations, and eventually doing prints and merchandise, uh, with my own characters and stuff, that I can eventually make more money than I would even working for the big guys. Uh, that's the dream, and the biggest dream is to make my own studio, but one step at a time. So yeah, that would be it for today. I hope you enjoyed seeing um, some of my retro work. that I hope you'll see more of before the end of the year. Part of what I have planned is by working on not only all my webcomics, but working on my my side projects, which is retro is one of them at the moment. That I'll get this issue done. Fingers crossed, and I'll be able to do a Kickstarter before the end of the year to fund the first issue. Uh, I would like to really pay the team on it and get it printed up and do some merch and have fun along the way. So we'll see. All right. Thank you all for watching. Please like and comment if you have any questions, like Scott did. Then please leave it below in the comments section. And subscribe if you're a new viewer. I hope you like what I'm trying to do here, which is become making comics into a habit and eventually into a career that's successful and financially feasible. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, take care.